After Effects has a toolset specifically designed to animate text letter by letter. In fact, the Animate menu is embedded in every single text layer, and it's only one click away. Let's look at our project. Go to the timeline and click once to make sure it's active. Then press the space bar to load a preview. And then you'll notice the very first layer just cut into the scene. I'm going to press the space bar to stop playback. And I will select layer 2, which is that very first text layer. And I will press I and move to the end point of the layer. Let's open up the options for layer 2 and clicking on the triangle on the left side. Now, instead of opening the text options, let's go over to the right where it says Animate and click the button to the right of Animate. I want to animate the opacity in each one of these letters. So I will go up and choose opacity out of the group. Now notice I have many more options that have appeared here underneath my text. We're going to focus on this one here called the Animator. Animator 1 specifically. Animator are usually compressed of two components. We have the range selector and then whatever parameter we just apply. The range selector is a method for selecting individual letters for animation. We'll see how to select these letters for a moment. But what's important to understand is whatever is within this range takes on the value of whatever property. You just add it. So what I'm going to do, since I want this to fade in, is change the opacity to a setting of 0%. Now, let's open the range selector 1 in the timeline. And one of these things I like to tell people is if you are not sure what the parameter does, go ahead to scrub on it so you can get a preview. So let's move our mouse over the start parameter and click and drag the scrub. And notice as I scrub to the right, this line here is moving to the right. This line here is called the start. And this is the start of whatever letter is going to be selected. So if we go down here and scrub on the end parameter, notice we have a similar line going to the opposite direction. You can also click on these selectors directly in Composition panel. If you hover over one of these selectors, click and drag. Notice, as I'm dragging, the parameters are changing down here in the timeline. Usually with my project, I have a lot of layers. So it's a little hard to be clicking in the composition panel all the time. So I recommend scrubbing here in the range selector 1. So I will change my end setting to a value of 100%. And I will change my start to a setting of 0%. So to create an animation, I'll go ahead and add a keyframe here, right at the start. And I know it's at the start because I pressed I to move to the endpoint of the layer. Now I like to speed to happen over the next second. So I will just go here in the upper left corner of the timeline. I will type 200 and press enter. That moves us to 2 seconds exactly in the timeline. And let's change this start parameter from 0 to 100% and then press enter. Now we're ready to preview the animation. Move the current time indicator back to the beginning of the timeline and press the spacebar to preview. Now we've successfully created a fade over each individual letter using a text animator. And there are many different options available inside of text animator. So I highly encourage you to keep practicing and play around with the different settings. After all, they say practice makes perfect.